Is this live? Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us today. I'm Greg Scarladio, Executive Director of the Committee for Human Rights in North Korea. We are very grateful to our colleagues from the U.S. Korea Institute at SAIS for hosting this event. We are very grateful to Dr. Oki Lam and our colleagues from South Korea for sharing their time with us to provide an update on the campaign to rescue Dr. Oki Lam's family. Since today's 9/11, I would like to begin by observing a few moments of silence in memory of the victims of the 9/11 attacks. Thank you very much. We will begin with a short documentary entitled, very simply, Save My Family. It is a documentary that tells very briefly the story of Dr. Oki Lam and his family still trapped in North Korea. After the documentary, I will ask the speakers to walk up to their seats on stage, and we will proceed with today's presentations and then with a Q&A. Thank you.
In 1970, a poor student studying abroad, Dr. Oh Kil-nam met a nurse who had been dispatched to Germany. Her name was Sin Suk-ja. They married and lived together happily. Watching his two daughters, Haewon and Kyuwon, played their beloved violins, Dr. Oh thought of his own passion, to become a great doctor of economics. But
가슴 메어지는 듯 했죠. 이런 곳이었구나. 다니 한 발자국도 1930년대를 못 벗어났구나. 그런 생각을 했어요.
in 1985, North Korean agents approached Dr. Oh. They told him he should go to North Korea. They persuaded him with sweet promising and preyed upon his weaknesses and insecurities. By the time, Dr. Oh had received his doctorate of economics, but he was unemployed. He was swayed by the promise of a professorship at a university in North Korea. Dr. Oh had dreams of contributing to the development of his homeland. Promising even more, they said they would provide the best medical treatment to his wife, who had hepatitis. This only added more weight to Dr. Oh's decision to go.
그 친구들은 독일에서 반정부 운동을 하고 독일에서 공부도 했고 한 그런 사람들이었는데 아무래도 북한으로 가는 것이 좋겠다.
With visions of bringing about economic reform through what he had learned in Germany, Dr. Oh boarded a plane to North Korea with his wife and two daughters. However, the only thing waiting for them when they landed were indoctrination sessions and overbearing monitoring. In a remote mountainous wilderness, the family was forced to undergo daily indoctrination into the cult of the Kim family for their first 4 months in the country. Dr. Oh already felt a deep sense of regret, yet there was no way to undo his decision. 3 months after his indoctrination course, Dr. Oh was given his first mission from the authorities. It was not as a professor of economics. His mission was to lure 2 South Korean students studying in Germany into North Korea. He fell into despair knowing that the North Korean authorities had given him instructions to carry out the same scheme that he himself had already fallen for. He could not refuse the order though, because his ailing wife and 2 young daughters were being held hostage.
쟤들 두고 내가 어떻게 가겠는가? 자신이 없다. 애들 때문에 반인륜적인 범죄를 저지르더라도 조선노동당 중앙위원회가 내게 준 지령 임무를 수행하고 돌아오겠다. 저희 집 사람이 다시 불같이 화를 내면서 멱살을 잡고 뺨을 때리면서 그런 얘기를 했었습니다.
도망치세요. 우리야 무슨 죄가 있어요. 그래도 죽인다면 죽으면 그만이죠. 하지만 우리를 죽이진 않을 거예요. 만약 우리를 죽인다면 자기들의 체제가 병약하다는 걸 알리는 거잖아요. 그러니 함부로 죽이지 못할 거예요. 다시 한번 부탁해요. 정의를 사랑하는 순결무구한 젊은이들이 대나무 공작기구의 재물이 되지 않았으면 좋겠어요. 추악한 삶은 존귀하지 않아요. 혜원 아빠, 이 말을 명심하세요.
그 집이 평양 중구였고, 즉 평양의 중심지인 창강거리, 저희 집이 바로 고려 호텔 옆에 있었어요. 12층에서 여기서 뛰어내려 당신이 그렇게 여기서 뛰어내려 죽어버리자고까지 얘기를 했었어요.
With his wife's determination in his heart, Dr. O boarded a plane heading for Copenhagen, Denmark. While on arrival to the airport in Copenhagen, he hid a note inside his passport which simply said, "Help me." While desperately looking for a chance to escape the grasp of his handlers, Dr. O saw the immigration desk just ahead of him.
그때가 제일 충돌 없이 큰 마찰 없이 이 사람 이 공작 지부의 그 공작 작전에 빠져나올 수 있다고 판단한 거죠. 살려달라, 헬프미. 하나는 영어로, 하나는 독일어. 이 여권은 내 진짜 여권이 아니다.
This is how Dr. O escaped North Korea. After Doctor's escape, his wife and 2 daughters were imprisoned in the infamous political prison camp, Yeoudeok.
애들은 못 봤어요. 애는 못 봤어요. 그 엄마만 계속 봤어요. 창고에 우리가 무슨 무슨 옥수수 밭질라랑 갔다가 밀가루 가질라랑 갔다가 그래 보면은 그랬어요. 근데 눈이 커요. 이 여자가 얼굴이 하얗고.
어머님 이거 머리가 새하얗거든요. 아야. 우리가 흔히 보기도 턱 보면 여기서 보면 이방인 같아. 외국 사람 같아 딱 봐.
After escaping from North Korea, Dr. O stayed in Germany and worked tirelessly to rescue his family and bring them back to him. Meanwhile, Yoon Il-sang, an international composer living in Germany, a man who had suggested Dr. O go to North Korea in the first place, approached him once again. Mr. Yoon showed Dr. O a picture of his wife and children and played a recording of his family talking. He attempted to persuade him to go back to North Korea.
아빠, 나는 희은이야요. 며칠 전에 아버지와 함께 생일을 즐겁게 보내는 꿈을 꿨어요. 저에게도 훌륭한 아버지가 계신데 아버지 사랑이 부르십니다. 아버지, 부디만 건강하세요. 너무 오래간만에 아빠라고 소리내어 부름이 나옵니다.
When Dr. O heard his daughter's voices, his heart broke. But he recalled his wife's determination and conviction, and he confused Mr. Yoon's offer to return. Instead, he dedicated himself to rescuing his wife and daughters and bringing the truth of North Korea to the world. Now, People all over the world have begun to listen to his story. As interest in North Korean human rights issues increased, the campaign to save Shin Suk-ja and her daughters began to gain strength all over South Korea. Finally, 26 years after fleeing the country, Dr. Oh received a letter from the North Korean authorities. It came as a reply to the UN Working Group on Arbitrary Detention's inquiry into Ms. Shin's case. The short letter said that his wife, Shin Suk-ja, had died from hepatitis. It went on to say that his daughters no longer consider Dr. Oh their father.
진정은 하늘이 무너진다고 할까, 무너졌다고 할까, 억장이 무너졌죠.
After 26 years of waiting, Dr. Oh couldn't accept this simple reply. Dr. Oh had known nothing but lies from the North Korean authorities since the first time they convinced him to come to North Korea. So, why not this time too? He thought. If Suk-ja has truly passed away, they should send me her remains. Also, they should allow me to speak with my daughters, to know how they have lived their lives. Although he considered the letter a lie, Dr. Oh still felt desperation.
아버지의 잘못 때문에 온갖 옛날에 그 어느 누구도 상상할 수 없는 삶에서의 고초를 겪은 두 딸. 어떻게 위로 뭐라고 하겠어요? 그냥 딸들이 아빠를 만나서 운다면은 내 손으로 그냥 눈물을 닦아주면서 그래 울어라 실컷 울어라.
Dr. Oh has shouldered the burden of a guilty conscience since the day he left North Korea. But now, the UN has issued an opinion which has given him hope and strength to carry on his mission to save his wife and daughters. On May 29th, the UN Working Group on Arbitrary Detention delivered their official opinion. They declared that Shin Suk-ja and her daughters were being arbitrarily detained in North Korea. Now, Dr. Oh is not a lone voice calling on North Korea to set his family free. He is joined by voices across the globe with the weight of the UN to pressure North Korea to release Shin Suk-ja, Haewon, and Kyuwon. As Dr. Oh's tragic story has spread around the globe, more and more people have taken an interest in working to improve the human rights situation in North Korea. Gradually, we can feel greater and greater hope for change.
정말 이 바보 같은 짓을 한 저를 도와 저 아내와 두 딸을 구출에 나서 주신 분들에게 정말로 감사를 드립니다. 제 어린 두 딸을 어린 두 딸이 아니군요. 지금은 이미 30대가 된 여인들이 됐군요. 그래도 그 두 딸을 부둥켜 안고 기뻐서 통곡하는 시간이 오도록 많은 지원, 도움을 주십시오. 감사합니다.
I want to see my family, if only once more.
it never gets any easier to hear the story of Dr. Oki Lam and his family. I would like to ask our speakers to join me on stage. We are... I would like to tell everybody that we are extraordinarily pleased to have a VIP interpreter today, Mr. Michael Kwon. I'm sorry we haven't prepared a table tent for him. We just found out in the last minute that he had very kindly agreed to translate today. Mr. Michael Kwon is a commissioner with the Fairfax County Human Rights Commission. And I would also like to salute the presence of one of our own committee's board members, Mr. David Kim from the Asia Foundation. We'll have to ask. I think that the first speaker doesn't really need an introduction, especially after having watched this very moving documentary telling the story of Dr. O and his family. We are going to begin by giving the floor to Dr. Oki Lam.
Thank you so much for having me here. The UN Working Group on Arbitrary Detention declared that my wife, Shin Suk-ja, and our two daughters, Haewon and Kyuwon, have been arbitrarily detained since my two daughters were only 11 and 9 years old. The only reason for their detention is that their father refused an order to kidnap two South Korean students and left North Korea. Because of that, my family has spent almost 3 decades in a political prison camp where unimaginable human rights violations are committed. Since the UN declared my poor family's detention has been arbitrarily, now I must take them back to me. In order to do that, I desperately need your help. I know the background of the fact that the UN has paid attention to my family's case and treated it like this was only thanks to the domestic and international interest and the support. Nevertheless, I need some more help from you to rescue them from that horrible situation. It is not only a campaign to save my own family, but also to save the 200,000 innocent lives being wasted inside these camps. These political prisoners are nameless and faceless. The campaign to rescue my family is the first step to saving these 200,000 lives. With your help, we can save all the unknown daughters and sons from those dark places. Thank you.
Dr. Okil-Nam, thank you very much for continuing this good fight with such energy and for being such an inspiration to us all. Our next speaker, Dr. Roberta Cohen, is co-chair of the Committee for Human Rights in North Korea and a non-resident senior fellow at the Brookings Institution. Dr. Cohen is a former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for Human Rights and a former senior advisor to the UN delegation to the UN, a senior advisor to the representative of the UN Secretary General on Internally Displaced Persons. Dr. Cohen and Francis Deng co-authored the first major study on internal displacement entitled Masses in Flight. And Dr. Cohen also organized the process leading to the guiding principles on internal displacement. In recent years, Dr. Cohen has written extensively on North Korean human rights, and many of you may recall an article published by the U.S. Korea Institute at SAIS entitled Human Rights Progress in North Korea, Is It Possible?, where Dr. Cohen included the 10 benchmarks that one would have to use in order to evaluate the current situation and in order to see if any type of change is happening on the human rights front in North Korea. Dr. Cohen, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Dr. Okil-Nam, it's a pleasure to see you again, to hear you speak English now, which I haven't. But I also hope that we'll no longer be on panels together, because I'd like to think that he will be reunited with his family. And as co-chair of the Committee for Human Rights in North Korea, I first want to say that we do help, we do want to help, and I want to express the support of the whole organization for freeing the family from North Korea and for a reunion between Dr. Okil-Nam and his family. In my remarks, I'd like to make 3 points. The first has to do with North Korea's forcibly holding foreigners against their will and not letting them leave the country. We have just seen this very poignant and moving film of Dr. Okil-Nam, a South Korean, who was lured to North Korea in 1985 with false promises of medical help for his wife and of a professional position for him as an economist. Instead, they were subjected to intense indoctrination and surveillance and used by the North Korean regime for its own political purposes. The job he was given, as the film showed you, was to return to Germany and lure other South Koreans to the north under false pretenses. The practice of luring foreigners to the north, where they're then held as virtual prisoners, as well as the practice of outrightly abducting foreigners to provide North Korea with skills and information it needs, has been well documented by a 2011 Committee for Human Rights report entitled Taken, North Korea's Criminal Abduction of Citizens of Other Countries. I know copies are outside. The report found that persons of at least 14 nationalities have been abducted or detained against their will in North Korea, the largest number being South Koreans and the most widely publicized Japanese. This goes all the way back to the 1950s. The report calls for a full accounting by North Korea of all those abducted, of all of those lured to the country, and all those who chose to go there but were then prevented from leaving. It calls for family reunifications for these people and their right to leave the country. Many governments and the United Nations General Assembly have expressed their abhorrence of these abductions, and our organization, together with others, have called upon the United Nations to set up a commission of inquiry to look into abductions and other crimes committed by North Korea. In 2002, for the first time, Kim Jong-il, then head of North Korea, admitted that North Korea had abducted Japanese and apologized to Japan's head of state. North Korea then allowed 5 abducted Japanese to return to Japan after being held for more than 20 years. But it did not provide a full accounting of all the Japanese still held or of all the other foreigners who had been taken. Were North Korea to provide a full accounting of all those kidnapped or lured to the country and allow the persons who are still alive to leave and reunify with their families, it would be a signal to us all that some reform is afoot in North Korea. That signal is not yet here, even though it might be lucrative for North Korea to release more abducted people and provide an accounting. My second point is that shining the spotlight on the Oh Kil-nam case is an entry point into the whole penal labor camp system in North Korea. For decades, as Dr. Oh Kil-nam has told you, persons held on political grounds in North Korea, like his family, were nameless and faceless to the outside world. No one knew who they were because North Korea was so closed off. But now, cases of actual people are beginning to come to the fore, with more than 24,000 defectors in the South. Even United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon knows who the Oh Kil-nam family is and publicly has said he will work for their release. Our committee, in a recent study entitled Hidden Gulag, this is a very heavy publication, estimates some 150,000 to 200,000 political prisoners in North Korea, held in brutal and grueling conditions. The figures in part are large because in the political penal labor camps, the Kwanli-so, whole families have been incarcerated, including children and grandparents, in order to isolate the family from society and punish family members because of their relationship to the accused person. Dr. Oh Kil-nam's wife and 2 young daughters were imprisoned because of their association with him. I am not aware of any other country in the world that holds so many political prisoners and where guilt by association is a regular and accepted practice. Were North Korea to respond to the growing calls for the release of the family, it would signal greater receptivity to international standards and opinion. Its new leaders, after all, could well calculate that the country could benefit politically and economically from some reform in the human rights area. Burma's recent release of political prisoners and other reforms opened up the door for dialogue with the international community, for the normalization of diplomatic relations with the United States, for the loosening of restrictions on economic aid and investment. Third, let me draw attention to the importance of United Nations human rights procedures. The Oh Kil-nam case, as you learned, was brought to the UN Working Group on Arbitrary Detention in 2011. The working group is composed of 5 independent experts. They come from Pakistan, Senegal, Chile, Norway, and Ukraine. And they began to ask questions of the North Korean government. And North Korea felt obliged to respond. It didn't deny the existence of the case. In fact, North Korea replied that Dr. Oh Kil-nam's 2 daughters are alive. As the South Korean newspaper Chosun Ilbo commented, North Korea usually flatly denies abducting any South Koreans, but this time it issued a response, albeit cursory, because the UN stepped in. Indeed, the case has gained greater legitimacy because of the UN imprimatur. NGOs, therefore, must continue to press the working group and the UN Secretary General to use whatever good offices and influence they have to unite Dr. Oh Kil-nam with his family and find out the fate of his wife. We must all urge our own and other governments to make this case a constant and relentless part of international human rights diplomacy with North Korea. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cohen. As Dr. Cohen said, we have copies of our report on abductions available outside, and also all of our reports are available on our website, hrnk.org. Our next speaker is Mr. Choi Sung-young, who is president of the Family Assembly Abducted to North Korea. Sir, the floor is yours.